Have you ever been in the middle of a conversation and completely blanked on a name, or sat down to work only to find your focus slipping after just a few minutes? Now, imagine someone telling you that 1 tablespoon of something in your kitchen could help with that. Sounds like a gimmick, right? But that something is coconut oil, and it's been making waves in both the health community and popular media for its possible brain benefits. They call it food for the brain. But is that just a catchy nickname? Or is there some real science behind it? In this video, we're going to unpack the truth. We'll dig into what coconut oil actually does once it's inside your body, the research around its impact on memory and focus, and most importantly, how you might use it in a safe, practical way. Stick with me until the end, because while the benefits are exciting, there are also some precautions you want to know before you start scooping spoonfuls into your coffee. Why coconut oil is different from other oils? Let's start with the basics. Coconut oil is mostly made up of MCTs, or medium-chain triglycerides. That S, a fancy name for a type of fat that behaves differently from the fats you get in, say, olive oil or butter. Here, S the key difference. Most fats take a long trip through your digestive system and get stored as body fat before being used for energy. MCTs skip a lot of that process. They go straight to your liver, where they're quickly turned into energy. That's why athletes sometimes use MCT oil before workouts. It's also why some people feel a mental boost when they consume coconut oil in the morning. From MCTs to ketones, fueling the brain differently. Here's where things get interesting for brain health. When your liver processes MCTs, it produces something called ketones. Normally, your brain runs almost entirely on glucose, the sugar in your blood. But in certain situations, like fasting, following a ketogenic diet, or consuming MCTs, your brain can switch to using ketones as fuel. Some researchers believe this switch could be a game changer for people dealing with cognitive issues. Why? Because in certain brain conditions like Alzheimer's, the brain's ability to use glucose declines. Ketones might act as a kind of backup generator, keeping neurons firing when glucose supply is low. Think of it this way: your brain is like a hybrid car. It normally runs on gas glucose, but if the gas line has a problem, it can switch over to electric ketones and keep going. The potential benefits: memory and focus. Now, does this mean coconut oil will turn you into a genius overnight? No, but the idea that it could support memory and focus is backed by some intriguing research. Some studies have shown that in older adults with mild memory problems, consuming MCTs led to measurable improvements in certain cognitive tasks. These weren't miracle cures, but the changes were enough to get scientists paying attention. And it's not just older adults. Anecdotally, people who add coconut oil to their diet, especially in the morning, report feeling more alert, with fewer brain fog moments. Real story. I once interviewed a freelance writer who swore by her morning brain fuel coffee made with coconut oil. She said, "I used to hit a wall by 10 a.m. Now I can get into deep work for hours. It's not jittery energy, it's steady and calm." Of course, she also made other healthy changes, like better sleep and less sugar. But she felt coconut oil played a key role: the science. What we know and what we don't. Let's be honest, this is where a lot of wellness claims fall apart. There's a difference between a promising theory and proven fact. Here's what we know so far. MCTs can raise ketone levels in the blood, and higher ketones have been linked to improved cognitive performance in certain contexts. Some small studies suggest that daily MCT consumption might help slow cognitive decline in people with Alzheimer's or mild cognitive impairment. There's less data on healthy young adults, but some research suggests potential for improved focus and mental clarity. Here's what we don't know. How much coconut oil is needed to make a meaningful difference for most people? Whether the effects last long-term without other lifestyle changes? If coconut oil's benefits apply equally to everyone, regardless of diet or genetics? So, The verdict? Coconut oil is promising, but it's not a magic pill. Think of it as one tool in a bigger brain health toolbox, alongside things like exercise, sleep, and balanced nutrition. Coconut oil as a protector for brain cells. There's another angle here beyond just fuel. Coconut oil contains antioxidants like vitamin E and certain polyphenols that help reduce oxidative stress. That's a fancy way of saying they fight damage to your cells, including your neurons. It may also help lower mild inflammation in the brain, known as neuroinflammation, which researchers believe plays a role in memory loss and other cognitive issues. Plus, the fatty acids in coconut oil support the structure of your cell membranes, keeping them flexible and healthy. Example: a friend of mine started taking coconut oil while recovering from a period of intense stress. She didn't notice a huge memory boost, but she did feel her mental fatigue lifting over several weeks. It's possible that the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects played a role. We've covered the basics of why coconut oil might help the brain and what the research says so far. In part 2, we'll break down exactly how to use coconut oil for potential brain benefits, dosage, timing, recipes, and we'll also talk about who should avoid it. I'll share a couple of personal tips for making it part of your day without overdoing it. How much should you take? Before you run to your kitchen and start chugging coconut oil, let's get one thing clear. More is not always better. For most adults, 1 to 2 tablespoons per day is the sweet spot. If you've never had it before, start with 1 teaspoon to let your digestive system adjust. MCTs can cause stomach discomfort or diarrhea if you jump in too quickly. When to take it? Timing matters less than consistency, but many people prefer to take coconut oil in the morning for a steady energy boost throughout the day. Morning coffee or tea. Blend it in for a bulletproof style drink. The fat slows the absorption of caffeine, leading to a calmer, longer-lasting focus before deep work. If you have a mentally demanding project, try a tablespoon beforehand and see if you notice steadier concentration. Before workouts, MCTs can also provide quick fuel for both your brain and body. Ways to use it in your diet. One of the nice things about coconut oil is its versatility. 1. Blend into coffee or matcha, creates a creamy latte-like texture. 2. Add to smoothies, works well with tropical fruits like pineapple or mango. 3. Use in cooking, great for moderate heat, adds a subtle sweetness. 4. As a salad dressing base, mix with lemon juice, herbs, and a bit of olive oil. Real story. A graphic designer I know blends coconut oil into her green smoothie every morning. She told me it's like flipping a switch for her creativity. She can work for hours without feeling mentally drained. Again, this is anecdotal, but it's a pattern I've heard from many people who should be careful or avoid it. Coconut oil isn't for everyone. You should talk to your doctor first if you have high cholesterol. Coconut oil is high in saturated fats, which may raise LDL in some people. Have liver or gallbladder issues? MCTs are processed in the liver and can be hard on a compromised system. Are on a low-fat diet for medical reasons. If you try it and experience persistent digestive issues, scale back or stop entirely. The science meets real life. One thing I love about coconut oil as a brain support tool is how accessible it is. You don't need a prescription. You don't need an expensive supplement. But that also means you have to be smart about how you use it. Let's look at a couple of scenarios. The Olin approach. Someone hears about coconut oil's brain benefits and immediately starts taking 3 to 4 tablespoons a day. Within a week, they're dealing with stomach cramps and feeling worse, not better. The slow build approach. Someone starts with 1 teaspoon in their coffee, increases to 1 tablespoon over 2 weeks, and pays attention to how their body and mind respond. They track energy, focus, and mood, making adjustments as needed. Which one sounds like a better long-term plan? Exactly. pairing coconut oil with other brain-healthy habits? Here's where the real magic happens. Coconut oil can be a helpful part of your brain health strategy, but it's not the whole strategy. For best results, pair it with omega-3 fatty acids from salmon, flax seeds, or supplements to support brain cell membranes. Regular physical activity. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain. Adequate sleep, memory, and focus. Suffer without it no matter what you eat. A balanced diet. Too much sugar can undo many of the benefits you were hoping for. Example: one viewer of my channel started a morning routine of coconut oil coffee, a 10-minute walk, and 5 minutes of journaling. She said the combination improved her focus more than any single habit ever had. Common myths about coconut oil and the brain. Let's bust a few myths I hear all the time. 1. It cures Alzheimer's. There's no cure for Alzheimer's right now. Coconut oil may help with symptoms in some cases, but it's not a replacement for medical treatment. 2. You'll see results in a day. Some people feel a quick boost, but long-term benefits, if they happen, come from consistent use over weeks or months. 3. Any coconut oil will do. Not true. Look for extra virgin cold-pressed coconut oil for the highest nutrient content. Making it a ritual. One of the easiest ways to stick with coconut oil is to make it part of a ritual you already enjoy. If you love your morning coffee, blend it in. If you start the day with a smoothie, add it there. If you cook breakfast, your veggies in it. The point is to make it automatic. The less you have to think about it, the more likely you are to stick with it long enough to see if it works for you. We've talked about how to use coconut oil, the right dosage, and the key precautions. In part 3, we'll go deeper into the emotional side of brain health. Why simple habits like this can have an outsized impact on your life. And I'll share my personal takeaway after researching and testing coconut oil for mental clarity. Why small habits can make a big difference. When people think about brain health, they often imagine big, dramatic changes in new diets, expensive supplements, intense training programs. But in reality, the things that stick, the things that actually shift how your mind works, are often small habits done consistently. Adding a tablespoon of coconut oil to your morning might feel like a small, almost trivial act. But over time, those little moments compound. It's not just about what the oil does for your brain, it's about the ritual of showing up for yourself. Reflection. A friend of mine in her 50s told me she started adding coconut oil to her tea each morning, not because she was chasing a miracle cure, but because it was a moment she set aside for herself. She said, "That quiet minute before the chaos starts, that's when I remind myself I am worth taking care of." The emotional side of brain care. We often separate physical and mental health from emotional well-being, but they're deeply connected. When you nourish your body in a way that supports brain function, you're also investing in your mood, resilience, and ability to handle stress. And that's important, because focus and memory aren't just mechanical, they're influenced by how calm, supported, and balanced you feel. Coconut oil isn't just fat in a jar. When you use it intentionally, it can become a symbol of self. That may sound a little cheesy, but think about it. The act of caring for your brain, of wanting it to perform better, is really about wanting to show up fully for your life. A note on expectations.